Well, that conflict has, of course, led to thousands of refugees heading to Europe, and that crisis is up for discussion at a summit in Greece. Leaders from Italy, Spain, Portugal, France, Malta and Cyprus are meeting in Athens. Our correspondent Sandra Gathmann is there and joins us now. Sandra, what are some of the shared concerns then that those countries have over the refugee crisis?
Well, first of all, Paul, there's absolutely no discussion, no question that Europe's southern Mediterranean countries are bearing the brunt of the refugee crisis. Countries like Greece and Italy are no longer transit countries, especially after the Balkan route closed and the EU began enforcing its relocation scheme. They are countries hosting tens of thousands of refugees, essentially stuck here waiting to be moved on to Northern Europe, or indeed, as per the EU-Turkey deal, returned back to Turkey. And their major issue is that the EU has failed to enforce this relocation scheme. It's being very slow. The process hasn't gone forward as planned. Only 4,500 asylum seekers have indeed been moved on and relocated out of the 160,000 places initially offered under this deal. So countries like Greece, Italy, other leaders here, the Portuguese and Maltese prime ministers, are very interested in pressuring compliance from EU northern countries to stick to that deal, and that will be the subject of talks here in Athens today.
And Sandra, Greece is hosting this meeting at the same time that EU finance ministers are meeting to discuss the Greek bailout. Do you think Prime Minister Tsipras is hoping for some kind of deal, some kind of trade-off perhaps here?
I think that is his ultimate goal, but he may not get very far today. The countries gathering here are very different in nature. The Spanish government, for instance, is more pro-austerity than the Italian or Greek administrations. But there is open concern about what message this gathering of so-called Mediterranean Club Med countries is sending. There were remarks from the German Commissioner Günther Oettinger saying that he was worried about a north-south divide in Europe between countries with big budget problems and those with minimal fiscal issues. And indeed, Greece is under the spotlight, as you say. The Tsipras administration is having to explain why it's behind on reforms needed to release the next tranche of much needed bailout money. Around 2.5 billion euros could be released to Greece if it makes a case for continuing on its path of austerity. And indeed, countries here in Athens, Spain and France aren't anti-austerity per se, but they will welcome a more growth-oriented agenda. Their economies are struggling as well, and they're all behind on deficit targets.
Okay, Sandra, thank you.